Why the 30 days? I mean, so must the 400,000 Palestinians wait 30 days? I mean, some of them may starve by then
the
or
letter,
be incinerated, as we have seen.
The letter is quite clear that we want to see changes immediately. And in fact,
Right.
the secretary sent that letter on Sunday. We did see humanitarian assistance go in through Erez yesterday. And we very much want to see changes, not wait for 30 days, but happen immediately. Now, we recognize that some things, like, for example, the letter calls for agreements on what actually would be dual-use items. That's not something that can happen overnight. That requires a negotiation. So some things take a little bit longer, but there are changes that we want to see implemented immediately.
Let me just have a couple more on Gaza, then a couple on the West Bank. But, the Washington Post reported, I think yesterday, about the strike against Al-Aqsa Hospital in the middle of Gaza, striking the tents, burning people alive and so on. Now, Israel always says that there are militants, that we never know whether there were or not, but that seems to be a story that is repeated every day. The Gaza people wake up every day to another 100 people dead or something like this. Now, I asked you about this last week, and you said, no, we would never accept this being normalized, but in fact, it is being normalized.
It's not. What happened in that strike was horrifying. We understand the very difficult environment in which Israel operates. But the results of that strike were deeply disturbing. We all saw that video and all know that it's horrifying to see people burned to death. And we have made clear our serious concerns about the matter directly to the government of Israel.
Is it horrifying enough to be considered a war crime?
So I cannot make that kind of assessment from here. As you know, Saeed, there's a process that we have to go through to assess the facts of the law when it comes to any individual determination.
Yeah, but this seems to be going on every day, day in and day out. And, on the ceasefire talks, Haaretz is reporting that Israel is saying no more talks, no more negotiations. Can you comment on that?
So I cannot confirm what's reported, I assume based on anonymous sources. We have continued to engage with the government of Israel to try and get a ceasefire over the line. As you have heard us say, that requires not just Israel, but Hamas making difficult decisions. And it continues to be the case that Hamas is not at the bargaining table in any kind of a serious way to talk about how we get an agreement.
So you are still saying that if Hamas comes back to the table and they come up with, reasonable, whatever, stance and so on, talks will resume?
Of course they would. We are committed to a ceasefire agreement under the terms that the president laid out on May 31st and that was endorsed by the United Nations Security Council. Absolutely.
Now, Israel is going to seize the UN agency headquarters in Jerusalem. Do you have any comment on that and turn it into some sort of a settlement?
Yeah, so we have made clear that we have have made clear for some time that we believe the government of Israel's settlement program to be inconsistent with international law and continue to make that clear to the government of Israel.